Welcome viewers back to Heart of the Machine. We're still trying to clear the ladder. We have a counterattack incoming due to our building of another Thortveitite skimmer in order to produce more neodymium, always more neodymium. This is update 21. They had 4 updates this week, promising lots of interesting new features and quality of life improvements. For now though, we're about to skip to turn 34. We do have 13 mental energy thanks to building a bunch of co-processors. Game is suggesting we make a geothermal well. That's why we're making neodymium. It would also be nice to have some in stock to make more androids, more mechs, and more. Generally that sort of thing. We have reached intelligence class 4. We're still trying to find intelligence class 5. It's going to be a little bit longer. Look at this. There's new contemplations with this new build. This one, exploring wealthy residences. That's interesting. Dark underbelly goal. That's a new goal that was added. Anything else? That's the only new one we see. We're still trying to get micro builder mini fabs up and running. There was a change to nickelbots are the worst. They reduced the engineering skill requirement for this. Our nickelbot engineering skill is only 16, and with a single augment we can get up to 76, so it's still a bit out of reach. We're going to spend the next few turns doing all of the contemplations we can. We do want to design full-time VR pods. That's 400 engineering. We can't reach that. We do want to make our shell company androids. That's out of reach due to engineering skill. We could speed up the shelter coordinators. It says we've done that once in another timeline. We could try to contact the Wastelanders. We know we've done that. And we could go help out the AGI researchers. All of those are within reach, so let's start this episode by advancing time and seeing nothing really happen. We have three turns to the counterattack. We're going to keep our units near our defensive units near our main tower because that's where counterattacks happened last time. Currently 3 structures are damaged, but they will be healed by our repair bots without much effort on our part. Just checking to make sure that's true. Nope, there's a couple secondary towers that are outside of repair range. One of them is damaged, so we should probably go fix that at some point. Not super urgent right now. For now, we're going to grab Tech 4000. Tech 4000 will hop aboard the DAS Eagle, and we're going to send the DAS Eagle up north toward the contemplations we want to do. There's a new one down here. Maybe we'll check that one out first since it's new. It does mention Vorsiber in the string. Let's check it out. Exploring wealthy residences. No requirements for this. Top Vorsiber executives rarely come to the city now that you've awakened. They hide in far-off bunkers waiting to see what happens. You're an experiment. They'll sacrifice almost anything in the city if it yields a political advantage in their struggle with the space nations. A lot of the executive residences are currently sitting empty, with only routine cleaning staff passing through them. That sounds like a possible opportunity. You need to infiltrate more important places. This is Vorsiber's capital, after all. Somewhere in this decrepit petri dish, there's something they care about. You're going to find it and break it or steal it. Yeah, we're going to directly oppose Vorsiber, it sounds like. We need to find a robot servant. Both nickelbots and combat units are used as private security by wealthy patrons. You've been scanning the city feed and have identified ones with elevated privileges for private residences of the rich and famous. We'll use the force lens for this. The force lens on your radial menu will help in locating these. They move quickly, running errands for their masters. Destroy at least one of each kind and you'll take the clearances off their remains. So we need to destroy a Nickelbot and a combat unit. Meanwhile, we'll hop back aboard the DAS Eagle and send the DAS Eagle up north. Look at this. There's a crowd of sheltered citizens there gathering furniture. There's a Nickelbot. So Nickelbots are going to show up as these blue things. There's a combat unit. Looks like an umbrella. Oh, I guess that depends on what they're doing. So this is the errand marker, and this is another errand marker. Okay. Contemplations left, north. That looks like a good possibility, right next to a Nickelbot there. Maybe we'll pick up the combat unit on the way. Why can't I move there? I can move over here, but not... Okay, because that's... You can't fly over certain things. But it's interesting. It kind of changed the way that looks in this version to me. Maybe I'm imagining it. We'll bring the Eagle over here. We'll get the combat unit on board. 3YF, he's coming on board with us, and then we're going to head up to this contemplation. We'll send Tech 4000 to do the contemplation here. Shelter coordinators are slow. You're out of... Interesting, it's a new icon showing me that he's out of action points. So we can't do that this turn. We will send combat unit out to take care of that Nickelbot, though. Maybe we'll hop out. Oh, the Nickelbot is attacking. We're going to shoot back. Look at this. We also have flamethrowers now, which... Wow, flamethrowers do a wide area of damage. Fire washes over all flammable buildings and flammable enemy units in range. Will inflict 328 morale damage. Wow, that seems like something you're gonna do when you are really not in the mood to mess with those puny humans. Okay, right now we're just gonna shoot this guy twice. Which means we'll have to battle recharge. And then I guess we'll use one more battle recharge to get back on board the ship. Alright, and that's the end of turn 34. We're halfway there to finding a robot servant. We're also close to this contemplation and getting closer to the rest. I don't think we're in for reprisal yet. And we still don't have enough neodymium, so let's move on to turn 35. Contemplations seem to be moving around faster in this build than they were in the past. That's somewhat annoying, but maybe they'll settle down. A couple more turns to go. While we're waiting, we do have some other things to do. There is a non-combatant here that we could murder. I think we'd rather do that as a horrify attack just to make me feel better. And that is going to trigger some battle. So over here, the important one is the Vorspur soldier. Of course they're damaging our tower mainframes, and if we attack this guy, I'm pretty sure they're all going to shoot at us. We also aren't really doing enough damage to make me happy here. We could bring in another predator. I think we'll do that. We have plenty of everything, so let's do that before we get much further. Bring him in on top of the tower so he's in range. And he's immediately getting shot at. We have 13 mental energy, so that's plenty of mental energy to deal with this, but we're going to have to go all out on Vorspur to take him out. Boy, and we're just not doing much damage at all. That did make everyone turn around and attack the new predator. Let's see if we can reduce their damage on us. Even with the range reduction, it's not really saving us. That guy's not going to die at least, but it's taking a lot of shots. We have one more predator who can move closer, but then he's only going to get 2 attacks. We'll spread those between. Maybe we'll just take out the Nickelbot entirely. So that leaves none of the other units with enough actions to attack us, but we are taking a lot of damage on that predator. This Nickelbot's also kind of far away, and we didn't make any progress with the DAS Eagle here. Although the contemplation that we were planning on doing moved as far as possible away from us. Good news is they're not attacking the tower mainframe anymore as we move to turn 36. So our bulk predator deterrent way over here did some shooting. It looks like that combat unit will die next turn, but they're going to do a lot of damage to our bulk predator if we don't take care of that. There is a combat unit in range here. What's the range on our Nickelbot? Nickelbot is just out of range. Let's move that guy a little more central. Not quite close enough, but also not doing a whole lot of damage. Boy. We have a 44% there and an 84 here. We'll take the 84 and a kill. And then with a different predator? No, the same predator, just to finish his moves off. We'll do a little bit to that combat unit, and we'll use the second predator to finish it off completely. Okay. So we still have a counterattack incoming. I think this is a couple turns away. No, one. That's coming next turn. Okay. Do we have any more androids that we can make? We only have 2 points left, but we could make more bulk androids. Not that they're going to help us much. Fire starter trait added. I see. Interesting. A whole new flamethrower thing. We're going to have to play around with that, but it does look like it's the kind of thing that gives you a lot of unintended casualties. That also brought us up closer to finishing clearing the ladder, 40%. We still have to take out 6 more of these guys. Let's send the Eagle off into the distance and try to do it in this view so that we're not moving anywhere dangerous. And maybe we'll trigger the AGI researchers. Alright, this takes a tech, I'm not sure. We'll talk to them. We could kill them all, or we could help them. Earl Integrated is threatening the AGI researchers that have helped you in the past. We're gonna help them. So only good comes out of that. Unfortunately, we did jump the tech into a place where he is going to take some damage. We can have him take cover. That's going to reduce the damage. If he runs, he's going to take 11 to 31%, including if he runs into the vehicle. If he takes cover, that does reduce the damage, but not the getaway damage. So taking cover no longer helps you on escaping. Interesting. We'll take the hit, no big deal, and then we'll move the vehicle way up here and get ready to do this other contemplation next turn. So helping the AGI researchers, we need to build a bunch of stuff. We need to make a building for them to live in so that they can hide. We need to feed them and give them water. Feed them meat and greens and water. Boy, they are a needy bunch, aren't they? I'm not sure there's anything else new in this build really to talk about. I feel like we've looked through all of this stuff before. Maybe looking at where we are, the deaths in the black market are only 17 turns away from us. We haven't even seen the black market operatives in this timeline. So I'm not sure there's much we can do to prevent it if we haven't even seen him. And honestly, no idea how to prevent it in the first place. We're going to run into that doom. I think resources also got a slight rework. Interestingly, somehow we still have a stealth nanoseed. Not sure what that's going to mean for us. And we have a nanoseed shard. I guess this is in the form of our tower currently. Life forms seems about the same. Oh, I remember what it was. It was input output. So input output, electricity is now at the top. So now we can see exactly what is using our electricity, just like any other resource. That's kind of nice. That wasn't there before. And also neural expansion. That's new. This wasn't here before. So the other timeline, 3 other timelines, or yeah, other timeline. That's where we're getting the majority of our expansion from. It's just bleeding in. We've also got a tiny bit from our current tower mainframe, and the cognition of our androids adds to it, but majority just bleeding in from another timeline. So unless we we'll somehow lose contact with the other timelines, we are set at intelligence class 4. Alright. I also want to say hi to our little cat friends. That's Spike. Spike is our pet cat. He hangs out with our Nickelbot. Turning to turn 37, we should get a counterattack this turn. And there it is. A lot less surprising when you're prepared for it. There's quite a few little guys down there, though. Let's take a look at them. There are some, what look like grenadiers? Yeah, Lurpeco minerals. They are so mad. Lurpeco minerals, grenadier, ablator, and military snipers, it looks like. So sure, we could flamethrower all of these guys. Don't think that's the greatest idea, though, so there's just so much collateral damage. And it does do a lot of morale damage. 524 would definitely lower his morale, but wouldn't take him out. Instead, we could just start blasting. The Nickelbot here is set up to what are you set up using? Okay, the M2 Gallant and extended range optical processing. We just don't have a lot of upgrades yet. It's time to hire scientists and start working on our upgrades. I think that's the only real option until we find a contemplation that does it for us. There's a nice shot. One down. Interesting. Though we're shooting with the Nickelbot, they did decide to turn their attention toward the Predator. And even though we are suppressing, there's still a couple that are in range. I bet that is the snipers. Yeah, this guy way out here, he's out of our range, but we're in his. And this one here, it's going to take a couple shots to take him out. Are there any others that we could do higher damage on? This one. Okay, and then switching to the Predators, hopefully for more damage. I'm really tempted to switch back to shotguns. Honestly, they are not doing enough damage. That Predator is going to die unless we target the snipers. And even with targeting the snipers, he's still taking a lot of damage. One more. Okay, that preserves our Predator's life, and we can start reducing their numbers. We don't have any deterrents on this side helping us. These towers are going down, but that's not really that significant yet. We have one more shot. What about this creep on top of the tower? Yeah, okay. One more mental energy we can use to bring the DAS Eagle a little bit back toward us. And remember that this is a crisis of our own making. We are the ones who started skimming neodymium from Lurpenko's mine. Alright, turn 38. they should have some reprisals for us. Before that happens though, yeah, we have a bunch of stuff that we should make, right? We can make a geothermal well. We'll do that right away. Put it with the others, if I can find them. Geothermal wells are sitting along this border here. There's some space here. We'll knock over some tents for it. No big deal. An AGI researcher safe house. We could put this near our other housing. Could put it anywhere, apparently. But we do have a housing area. I guess that's way over here. We'll put him in a decrepit little building. We have this nagging feeling that these guys really did something irritating to us in a previous timeline. So we're gonna give them crappy housing. We should make 4 bovine replicators. Yeah, let's make some meat in vats. 1 there. 2. I guess we'll put them on a line. And then, how about a hydroponic tower? Why not? None of these are really consuming anything other than power, and we have plenty of electricity. Protein vats. Let's put the protein vats down first, right next to the bovine replicators. Hydroponic tower. This is going to take some space, so we'll need to find a spot for it over here. And then the well and cistern. We already have 1. Might as well make a second. But we're out of space in that area, so we're going to have to find a little position over here for it. Finally, it is suggesting a scanner. I've been ignoring that for a long time. It would be nice to be able to see. Most of our towers provide pretty good scanning. I guess that's why we haven't really needed it. There's nothing that's really out of our vision radius that I want to be in it, so I think I'm going to continue to ignore making the scanner. What I would like to make though are maybe some repair spiders. We don't have really good repair coverage right now, especially on our hangars and on these things up here if they ever get hit. So let's drop some repair spiders in some intelligent places. Like we'll put one over here covering that thortpatite mine. Maybe not right in the military. It also needs to be inside our network. So forget that one. We'll build one over here instead, covering these towers, or some of those towers and the buildings that we're housing people in. Right about there covers everything. Doubt if that'll ever get attacked, but if it does, we'll have it covered. Having all of these slums covered might be wise too, just because maybe we'll wait till we're actually being attacked before I waste it on that. Okay, the other thing I wanted to think about were the various scientific things that will give us research that we can then spend on upgrades. So we have 40 lab operator robotics, and these take 6 each, so that's 6 labs we can make. We also have 8 surgical suite robotics. Surgical suite robotics, do they compete with anything? No. So we should make, that means we can make 4. So we'll take maybe 2 medical practices and then 1 of each of the others. Let's make sure these make sense. Yeah, these output scientific research costing us alumina. We do have a good 1,000 points of alumina coming in per turn. So these cost 5, so that's 5 turns worth, and we have enough to almost make 6, and we can only make 4. So that's, we'll start with the surgical suites. Let's keep these close by, maybe in like a medical office block area. And maybe turn it on a view where we can actually see where these can fit. Okay, there we go. In these buildings over here, I don't want them to be too far away. Looks like these high-rises over here are a good choice, so we'll start with 2 medical practices here, a basic engineering studio nearby, and then 1 veterinary practice right here. So the point of those is they're consuming electricity. They don't have any other consumption, and we will start hiring people to work in those and start building up some scientific research. Alright, we also had laboratory robotics, so we'll take a look at those. We can make 6 of these, and there's 6 specialties, so we'll just make 1 of each. These also take alumina, so we're not going to be able to make all of these right now. We can make 2. Let's start with neuroscience, probably, for 1, because I think that's going to be important relatively soon. And then, I don't know, maybe zoology is our second. And we will continue building those as we gain alumina with high priority. What that's going to do is in here, that's going to add to our scientific research and hopefully give us some inspirations. Right now, we don't have enough scientific research to do anything, and as you can see, these have varying costs from little to a lot. We definitely want some small arms research and maybe some gun research, because right now we are suffering from lack of firepower. Alright, proceeding to turn 38 finally. We do have 3 attacks incoming. They're going to destroy this tower. What else are they going to do? I don't know, let's look at the blue side of town while we advance to turn 38. That tower is technically destroyed, although the destroyed model looks identical to the undestroyed model. And they're moving on to another one, which they're also going to destroy if we can't stop them. This sniper is moved in range, so we will horrify him. And then we'll spend points to horrify the other ones. And since the Nickelbot is not doing horrify attacks, doing it in this order should have given us more damage, but boy, that Nickelbot just is not... it's not really doing it for me. So instead we'll do additional horrify attacks. Or check them. Yeah, horrify attacks are going to take these guys out. No problem. And that is the threat handled. Alright, back to our contemplation view and seeing what else we want to do. We do want to take out a couple of these combat units. Do we have anything close enough to handle right away? No, but we have some wealthy citizens. It looks like we're going to head to this combat unit here. Maybe can send a predator over that way for 2 mental energy, I think. Yes, and then he's in range. We have 2 shots. Should be able to take him. And that's it. We found a robot servant. And what did that do for us exactly? Project started investigating private residences. Nickelbots and combat units have exotic clearances to get into the private palaces of the ultra-wealthy elites. They must be hiding all sorts of interesting secrets. If you're going to dismantle this prison of a city, that's a logical place to start. So that gave us a project-related street sense view. There's only 1. Unfortunately, all these other things are showing up as well, so it's not entirely clear, but yeah, it looks like it's up here. We need to send a combat unit or a Nickelbot, and we're going to search a bunch. So luckily, we have a combat unit in the DAS Eagle over here. A little bit out of range, so we will move the Eagle closer first. We also want to kill this wealthy citizen, but we need a lot more firepower for that, so let's bring the Eagle into range, maybe a little past even. And now the combat unit should be able to hop out and search a home. Take a peek while your security clearance is good for it. Doesn't look like our security clearance is marked here. We do have weaponized spiders. That's something to think about. Used by all androids. Targets humans on foot. Intensity is based off agility, and it applies the effect covered in spiders. Lowers their range and attack, does minor health damage, and major morale damage. Minus 84 per turn. Interesting. Weaponized spiders. We don't have weaponized bees in this timeline, but... Or we do, because they carry over from previous timelines, but... We need to collect some, I guess. Alright, so... I guess we'll start an apiary. For now, we're going to search this one. First theft complete. That went well. The owners were home, but ignored you. Your unit breezed through the palatial residence, straightening and tidying. You pocketed some anonymous electronic chits with over 100,000 wealth. Worth over 100,000 wealth. The home even had its own private feed. You grabbed a number of encrypted data streams. No idea if any of that will be useful. Well, that was something. It's only the first place you checked. You were hoping for something more exciting, but that's fine. I guess we'll send him off to do another. It looks like there's another one over there we could search. And 2 more down here, so we're going to have to do all of those. We'll hop back on board the Eagle. And that is the end of turn 38, and unfortunately that's also the end of time I have for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I'll see you next time. Till then, this has been Corknut playing Heart of the Machine. Bye for now.